Hi, my name is Makita. And I'm here to share with you a very personal journey with you, a lifelong battle with eczema. Some people refer to it as eczema, but I refer to it as eczema. And as a young woman who's been navigating through this condition since I was a baby, I know firsthand how challenging it can be both physically, emotionally, and spiritually. First and foremost, I want to start with what exactly is eczema. Eczema is a moderate to a severe chronic systematic disease that can be linked to an overactive immune system that deals with persistent inflammation. And for some, eczema can lead to a lot of rashes and itching that can flare up unexpectedly. When it comes to the causes, scientists have said they're not really exactly sure what causes eczema, but they do know that there are some contributing factors. Excessive inflammation, what we talked about, which is the devil, and it is major when it comes to triggering this overactive immune system that goes haywire. It's like, oh my gosh, we have invaders coming in and we gotta work. And it's like, no, calm down. And this contributes to a lot of these symptoms with eczema. And they said a compromised skin barrier where it allows moisture to just escape. That's why you're dealing with a lot of excessive dry skin where it just seems like you're just putting on lotion for days and days, which lead to you having all these rashes and these itch attacks. Whew. As you can see, it's plagued me for a very long time, and I feel it. You feel it in the way that I'm talking. They also talked about it could be personal or family history of allergies or eczema or even asthma. Lastly, they talked about products from the environmental factors, soaps, fragrances, even dust, pollen, other animal danger that could contribute to irritant. I would like to add to stress. And there's a lot of stress that's going around that's not healthy stress that will contribute to you having some flare-ups and itch attacks with eczema. My story of eczema, I try to be very, very careful with the words that I choose because I'm at a place where I no longer want to claim this. But for storytelling purposes, I will say my eczema story. But here on out, it's going to be referred to as the eczema because I don't want to claim this as mine. It began very early on with me. Neither one of my parents nor my siblings had it, but I had learned that it was more prevalent on my dad's side from some of my other extended relatives. Don't know too much about my mother's side and who had it, but I do know more about my dad's. And I started experiencing these flare-ups as an infant. And even while I was exclusively being breastfed by my mother, that's the only thing that I could say that I was exposed to. As I grew up, I did not know what triggered the eczema. I started going to dermatologists at a young age, and they diagnosed it as atopic dermatitis, which is inflammation of the skin, which we said was the devil. And atopic, it's at a younger age, don't really know. It's just there. I also believe that later on in my journey, I developed, and it's a little bit of the contact dermatitis, coming in contact with things, and I would have unexpected breakouts and flare-ups too. I didn't really know where these triggers of the eczema was coming from, and I assumed that it was food related, but I didn't have any concrete answers with that either. And it wasn't until adulthood that I finally decided to visit an allergist because I've been going to dermatologists and they've pretty much been saying and prescribing the same things over and over and over again in these topical steroid creams that were eating away and at my skin and causing the discoloration to happen of my skin thinning and the color to not return back to its natural color. So I said, well, let me go ahead and go to an allergist, only to find out that the triggers, is they put different foods and things on my back to see what I reacted to. And it said that I don't have any triggers to any food, but environmental factors like the trees and the grass, mold, mildew, even said certain insects, even talked about roaches and bed bugs. And I said, what am I supposed to be doing with this? I didn't grow up with roaches and stuff like that. What is going on? I said, am I supposed to be walking outside in the biggest bubble ever? Because they didn't really tell me any solutions of how to go about doing this. I said, so I guess I gotta go and walk in a bubble suit. But growing up, I often felt as if I was the bubble child. I needed corrective lenses, glasses. I was nearsighted, couldn't see far away, could only see close up. My other siblings didn't need glasses. I had spaces in my teeth, had gaps. They didn't. Their teeth was nice and straight. I suffered from all types of allergies. Would wake up in the morning, achoo, 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 achoo. Good grief. Puberty just tore me up. I had bumps all over the place. All over my face. Looked a hot mess. Of course, dealing with the skin issues, with the skin allergies, with the eczema. I was outdone. I said, this dermatitis is absolutely awful. It's horrendous. But throughout the school years, the dermatologist prescribed me endless topical steroid creams for my arms and my hands, my legs, and my feet, because that's where I primarily saw the eczema flare-ups. It was mainly on the extremities, the upper extremities, the lower extremities. I didn't necessarily see it around my neck too much or on my face. At the time, I didn't think much about my diet that could be affecting my skin, because no one was saying anything when I would go to the doctor's office. I ate whatever I wanted to eat without even noticing any significant changes. At one point, I was told that you may want to start eliminating dairy because that was what you were exposed to in the beginning, so clearly you had to be allergic to dairy. After about 1 to 2 weeks of trying to cut out the milk, cheese, sour cream, because I was a sour cream lover, I didn't really see much results, so I gave up. I did. And then I attempted to do a vegan challenge for about a couple of weeks. I felt so weak after those 2-3 days of being on that vegan challenge. I was like, I am ready to resume my regular diet. The meat, I want it all. The diet never seemed to be a major focus of the advice that I received from the doctor. So I just said, well, surely I can eat whatever, because they said that this is gonna be with me forever. There's nothing that I can do but just keep coming to them. Emotionally, living with eczema was so freaking tough. I was embarrassed to even show off my hands in public and to even participate in activities that drew attention to them. And people would ask, what's on your hands? Or if they would touch it, my skin, and compare it to it feeling like reptile scales or snake skin, or it being really rough or bumpy. Not knowing my triggers made me feel so helpless. Though I learned over time that those strong fragrances were a no-go for me by trial and error, I tried oatmeal baths and fragrance-free products, certain soaps and lotions and creams that were over the counter, but nothing seemed to work consistently. Good Lord, I had to keep lotion on my nightstand. It was bad. My mid to late 20s, I started wanting to do some experimentation with my diet, and it was all the rage. Ooh, let's do smoothies. So I got a blender, got some fruit and veggie smoothies, as I said, I know that I am not eating enough fruits and vegetables that are recommended in the day, so let me start to incorporate this in my routine. And I wanted to start weaning and eventually cutting out drinking juices and pops, AKA sodas for all the people in the different regions, but you know, we say pops up in the Midwest. And I was really hoping that I would get some good results. But even after 8 long years of this, my skin wasn't improving to the level of what I had hoped for. I began to go into some prayers. God, please guide me towards a major miracle. Guide me towards something that's gonna truly heal my skin. Got to my mid-30s, and this is when things took a major nosedive for the worse. My hair began to thin out, and my hair is something that is like a prized possession in regards to maintaining the health of my hair. I was doing these wash and goes, and I was washing my hair regularly, at least twice a week, because I know within the Black community, we have this thing where they would be encouraging you to, back in the day, wash your hair once a month. I didn't understand why we would wait that long to wash your hair once a month when you wash your body every single day, but you neglect your scalp, which is living, breathing, and you want to wash it once a month. I was washing it, hair was thriving, hair was growing, I was seeing progress, and then all of a sudden I hit a major plateau. Bloop! Hair was starting to look scraggly, was thin. I went and got a big chop. Still wasn't looking right. Scalp was becoming super itchy. Sores were appearing in my scalp from me constantly scratching through the middle of the night. So tender in the top of my head. Hair was thinning out in the corners of my head, thinning out at the top of my head. I'm like, what in the world? I was so frustrated. Frustrated with the whole process. Frustrated with the lack of support from the dermatologist. Frustrated from the lack of answers. I needed help. So I sought out the help of a trichologist who specialized in the hair and the scalps, because I never really recalled any of the dermatologists wanting to really inspect my scalp and my hair. They would ask me where I was having flare-ups, and I would tell them, but they never seemed to be curious enough to even want to check. I only had one dermatologist that I can recall that was a Black dermatologist. And he was someone who had brought something to my attention that neither one of the other dermatologists had said. He had looked at my hands and looked at my fingernails, and I had ridges and lines in my nails, and he said, you have inflammation in your fingernails. And I'm like, really? But I had never heard that before. But once again, I left out of the office with no clear answers, plans, or solutions of how to get rid of the inflammation in my nails. With this trichologist, she had encouraged me to go and get some blood work done. That was a major turning point because I hadn't had blood work done in a while. However, she said, don't just get the standard blood work of the CBC and the where they're looking at the blood count and you're looking at your BNP with the electrolytes and kidney functions. I want you to look at your thyroid. I want you to get vitamins checked, some of the vitamins checked, like vitamin D3. I want you to get your hormones checked. And I'm thinking, I'm in my mid-30s and no one has ever told me to get my hormones checked. And I guess it is about time to kind of see what the hormones are doing, because I'm getting up there in age. Even though I feel young at heart, I'm getting up there in age. I went ahead and discovered that I had deficiencies in vitamin D3. I had elevated estrogen. My estrogen was like over 600. It's pretty high. I had slightly elevated testosterone levels. And the revelation, it changed how I approached my health and my skin here, because I was like, oh my gosh, I started doing the research of some of those imbalances with those vitamins and those hormones, and I was blown away. This journey has been so long, painful at times and stressful, but it was full of some lessons. And it's led me to discovering some solutions that have made a real difference in this journey, giving me so much more hope. Next videos to come, I will be sharing products and strategies that have truly helped heal and regain control over my skin. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss it. In the meantime, let's go after discoveries of living a life that's full of more joy and cheer. Ciao.